Why, hello there and good morning. So this is going to be addressed to I'm not going to say piece of crap because I can understand where somebody could have questions about my story and his story if you haven't actually watched all the videos. So what happened is my son was having an episode for several days, and I'm talking several days. He got worse and worse. And something that was said or done, because I'm not going to disclose everything about him, I knew I needed to take him to the hospital. I knew his symptoms were getting worse. So I took him to the hospital. They said he would be there for a 72-hour hold. I knew for sure 72 hours he would have, you know, mellowed out, straightened out, been okay to come back. Well, right away, that actual night, Crisis called me, because anytime a child is, brought to the hospital or is having an episode and you have to call Crisis out, they kind of have to clear the fact that they are okay. Crisis called me, I think at 10 to begin with, and then at 12. They said, okay, he's fine and dandy. He can go back. And we did a crisis plan with him. And if you haven't dealt with crisis plans and what they look like, crisis plans are made for if certain situations happen, what the child plans to do in those situations. That doesn't always work with him because when you're having an episode, like I had said before, you can't just think of 3 things that are fluffy and look for 3 things that are blue. It just doesn't work that way. So I went to go pick him up, and when I got there, I came in his room, and he was kind like usual, but there were symptoms that were still massively there, as the fact of he was still kind of staring straight ahead. It's just part of his symptoms of his spectrum. So of course I didn't feel comfortable taking him all the way back in the woods. Why is that? Because if he's 100% stable, he loves it. He doesn't care, about being here at all. But when he's not 100% stable, like in this case, I didn't want to take him all the way out in the middle of nowhere, knowing that he was still having these symptoms. So, because out here in Flagstaff, they don't have any place to transfer him. They want his bed gone. It hadn't even been close to 72 hours. It wasn't even 48 hours. I thought they had some place that they could transfer him for a day or two, like they do in Mesa. Crises came out many times. They decide, and I decide, what the next right action would be regarding him. As a good parent, I said I can't take him. I'm not going to do that until he's stable. So then they didn't know what to do with him. There is absolutely no place that a child can go temporarily. They're everywhere in Phoenix. They're everywhere in Mesa. They're every place. So they wanted to know why I was uncomfortable with bringing him out into the forest. And I told them why. So suddenly, I don't know if they didn't get it or what, they wanted to come out and see our living environment to see maybe if that's why I didn't feel comfortable with him coming back or whatever, which isn't the case. You just don't want a child who is, I'm saying having symptoms, but it's a little bit worse than that. They wanted to come out and drive out and look at his living situation, which obviously, if you've seen from my videos, his living situation is beautiful. You'd probably be jealous of, living in the woods and having everything that you need out here. Tons of food, tons of everything. And that's when I went after them and I said, what? So you're telling me you want to come out and look at his situation where he could be here 1 day, 3 days, it kind of depends because we have to move around. It has to do with showers and laundry and food and everything. We don't live in one spot. We go to different beautiful places. And that's when I went after them and I said, what? You want to come out here and look at his temporary situation, and you want to release him to that situation when he's 75 days homeless. Somebody needs to do something. I have called and tried and everything, and services are available for him, and services are available for me. When we became homeless, we should have went to the top of every single list and got those services. It gets more complicated than that because due to the fact that he's now been diagnosed as something, as being on the spectrum, his team is kind of moving back because they don't treat any type of autism in any way. So he hasn't been having, his counseling. He hasn't been having, anything like that. And he can't have anything like that until we are stable in one city. And no, I don't want to be stable in this city. But we had to leave the last city because we were there. You're not allowed to live in the forest. And even though we went around as many times as we could, we weren't allowed to live there. So it's me coming after them and saying, as a parent, I don't feel that it's safe to take my son in the middle of the woods, regarding what's going on. And it's just kind of like, as a parent, if you're a parent, let's say, your child hurts themselves extremely and you can see it's still infected and that they need, to be watched a little longer until the infection goes away, even though that's not the way it is. But I'm just trying to, do something where you might understand. And, as a parent, you're probably not going to take him if you're a good parent because he's infected. You want him to be safe. Of course, a lot of parents would be like, I just need him home. I just need him home. And yes, I just need him back. But I wanted him to be safe. And so, that's the situation. Me sitting there telling them, you're going to let any child be homeless. You're going to take children away from people's houses that are hoarding or something like that. But you want to come out here to make sure that his homelessness is sufficient. And like I had said before, like I've said for 75 fucking days, like I said, even before this happened, no child deserves to be homeless. So because he couldn't stay in the hospital, and because what I had said to them, they took him in the middle of the night. He wasn't allowed to stay there anymore. There are no facilities for him to go for a day or two. So that's where we're at. That's where he is. Are they going to try to keep him because of what I said about no child should be homeless? I'm not really quite sure. If they do, it's just the way the system works, People are pieces of shit. They want to back themselves up, and if a mother's sitting there saying no child should be homeless, and they put him back as being homeless, who knows? But the fact is I wanted him to be safe. I didn't think for any reason he would be put in some type of youth shelter. There's no way. If I would have thought that this would have happened, I would have taken him back with his symptoms, because I know that the way he is, this would be way more safe than being put in a shelter, because putting him in a shelter is him thinking that he's not good enough and thinking that, being around other children, which he finds it difficult to have relationships or, I could kind of go in more of that, but I don't want to say, all of, expose everything, about, what his autism can look like. So that's where we're at. The reason why I haven't moved in with my son, there are several reasons. The first reason, I'm not going to say it, has to do with the problems that he's experiencing right now, not with me, but let's say a roommate. He has several cats. He's a cat boy. And no, I will not give up Asa. There's absolutely no way that I will give up Asa. Asa has been protecting us. Asa has been keeping him smiling, keeping him stable. because when we had to leave due to the $1,700 a month and the hospitalizations and everything like that, we had to take, and I don't want to cry about this because it still hurts me, we had to take his emotional support animal to a rescue where she is, where they send us videos and, update us of how she's doing. When this episode got worse is actually when he was looking at a video, because we love her so much. So that is why. And if you're not a dog person, you don't understand. If you're not a person that has a support animal, you don't understand. This is not only his support animal, this is my support animal as well. I do have a diagnosis myself. I am SMI by the state because I do have PTSD. And maybe someday I'll go into, the story of my PTSD, and you'll kind of understand. I actually have CPTSD due to several major things that have happened, but it's been totally under control for quite some time, though my body will tend to stiffen, which it automatically does when episodes get really bad. So that's just the way that it is. The only thing that we've been offered is to go into a shelter, which would devastate my son, and it wouldn't just be him crying. He's already been devastated from his bird. So ASA is not an option to be left right now. And if you're a dog person, you can understand that. And if not, then not. So this would answer your question, even though I really don't want to do this again, about, having to defend myself or having to defend him. It is what it is. I did what I needed to do to protect my son. I will continue to do that. And I don't know what the situation is going to be, because I called DCS on the fact that no child should be homeless. And I'm still going to say that regardless. I have not talked to his team. They were called by everybody. There are parts of his team that can't believe this is happening, that know his story, that have been in all the meetings, that understand that I did what was right. However, these people in his team can only make phone calls. They can't make decisions. They don't have the pull, as let's say his case manager can do. There might be problems with this case manager, and the only reason why I say that is because I've told them for 2 years he's on the spectrum. And when he was finally diagnosed, I let them have it of what my son has been through, due to them not listening, due to them saying that he wasn't allowed to get a test because it was only allowed, a certain time and a certain amount of years. He never had an autism test, by the way. So that's why I got a advocate for his medical insurance. So if any testing needed to be done, there were no excuses. If any, thing needs to be done, there is no excuses. And his advocate for his insurance has no pull. She has absolutely no pull. And there are others involved as well that have no pull. How is a medical insurance place going to say, give them back, especially when I didn't feel comfortable about it. So it's just a really, really tricky situation. I'd appreciate, if you don't know what's going on, to just be kind in asking a question. And I'll probably, if anybody says anything again, just kind of put them back to this video so they can understand the situation, because I don't have the heart or the time to write out paragraphs. I don't need to explain myself. I definitely don't need to explain him. There is a lot that I'm not going to say about him at all, nor I ever will, because I do need to protect, him. There are symptoms of autism that I have brought to light, but the deepness of it, or things that he can experience in those episodes, only the professionals know, and only the professionals will know, because I don't want to do that to him. Sometimes I don't even like doing these videos. They are healing sometimes for me, because not only have I been doing this for 2 years with him, I think it was day 50 or 55 that we were out here alone, no support, nobody helping, nobody understanding, and et cetera, et cetera. So have a beautiful day. I hope that answers your questions. Please don't ask me anymore. If you're not here to support, like straight up, don't watch or fuck off, whatever you need to do. But I'm going to continue to do what's best. I have a great, I think it's a great possibility that they're going to try to keep him, just due to the fact of my statement that I didn't feel like he was safe out in the forest, and for the fact that I had said that no child should be homeless. Like, what are they supposed to do now? Maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I don't think that I should have to do things or say things that aren't true, to be selfish as a mother and say, oh, he's having an episode, but I miss my son and I want him. Fuck yeah, I miss my son. I want him back. I want him back so bad. And maybe he's 100% now. I don't even know. Because they took him in the ambulance, not from the woods, but from the hospital. Okay? And that's the way it is. So, hopefully you understand this. And you don't write any shitty more comments. My story is not BS. His story is not BS. This has been going on for over 2 years. And if you've dealt with the mental health system, you would understand. Back in the day, being mentally ill was, you're psycho, you're crazy, stay away from me. The beautiful thing about mental health these days is people are becoming honest with what mental health can look like. It's more accepted now. The same thing with LGBTQ. Back in the day, if someone was gay, I'm 53 years old, by the way. If someone was gay, of course, I don't care, because I accept people where they're at, or what they are, or who they are. I mean, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody and it makes them happy, everybody deserves to be happy. But back in the day, if you were, in that position, you were shunned, So it's beautiful that people are reaching out and saying, and being honest with what they experience. The problem with the mental health system is it's happening more and more and more and more and more. They can't keep up. They don't have enough. They don't have enough employees. So it's kind of like a catch-22 with the whole entire mental health situation. Even I, at one time, had been so depressed with the way that he had been being treated and such. So I called a warm line because I was crying so hard. And in the beginning, the guy told me that I only have 7 minutes to talk because they have so many calls coming in. Now, I could understand that. However, if somebody was in a different position for me, they might have looked at that as still nobody cares about them. Still nobody is going to listen to them. Maybe that's a sign that they should do something to themselves or something like that. So that's just kind of where the mental health system can be. If you need services, it just doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, and a lot of waiting. So for me to get him everything that he had as fast as I had, it was a part-time job. It still is. It still is. Calling and seeing and looking at everybody as a lead, regardless of all the hundreds of leads that you've had that have led to nowhere. So I'm going to keep the faith. Maybe I shouldn't have called DCS out, on the fact that they, I'm sure, take hundreds or maybe thousands of children away for probably stupid stuff. So that's just where, the story. And if anybody wants to fucking say stupid shit, you can come back to this video, okay? And have a beautiful day. And, I'm sorry if I'm being rude to you, because I do understand, how somebody could think this is bullshit, but it's not. So, keep your head up. I hope you never have to experience anything like this. I hope no child ever has to experience an unknown mood disorder diagnosis and not be treated properly. I hope no mother or family is put in this position, because sometimes mental health is extremely hard for people, and it can be suffering. It can be suffering. Okay? So if you want to do anything, pray for him, pray for me. I'm going to continue to fight. It might be extremely hard battle. I might get him back tomorrow. I might not for a while, because what I said, I don't know. But I'm glad that I'm doing these videos, because if something happens to him, or even if something doesn't happen to him, I'm not even going to say that maybe this will change the way that they're doing things, the way that, maybe this will bring to light something, and I'm really, really glad that I'm able to make these videos, because before, I was crying to no one. I was trying to no one. He was treated like he was nutso. Lock him up, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. So. And it's lock him up because he's an unknown mood disorder. Now that he's on the spectrum, it's a totally different thing, because unknown mood disorder could be anything. Is he schizophrenic? Is he severely depressed? Is he a self-harmer? Is he this? Is he that? Is he that? And, and now they know. So, peace out. Have a good day. Pray for my finger. Ready? I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll do a video a little later. I really don't even like the fact that I have to make this video, but that's pretty much the first thing that I saw when I opened the phone. And thank you to all the people that do show the support. And for those that don't show the support, keep watching, because you'll understand what can happen. And it might not happen to you, and I hope it doesn't happen to you. But I'm sure people have seen family members or friends or something have to go through similar situations, probably not this bad and this hard, but then maybe you can have some more understanding for other people as well. Okay, peace out. Bye.